what is exactly pornography, the effect on marriage, and how to treat yourself and never despair of Allah's mercy. We'll talk about the secular aspect of it and the Islamic perspective and how we can actually get rid of that plague. So let's go on this journey and hopefully we can come out winners in this issue. It's a win-win situation. As I said, never despair of Allah's mercy. So if you have it, may Allah protect you. And if you don't have it, may Allah also protect you. Ya Rab, Ameen.
ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا إليها
Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulullah. Amma ba'd, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, and welcome back to another episode for Family A to Z. I'm your host, Alaa Said. Today we're going to talk about some issues that are a bit controversial, but it is extremely important. I do have a lot of complaints, especially from women, not only, but especially from women, regarding this specific topic. Indeed, it is a bit sensitive, but we have to talk about it since we talked about the gloves are off approach. However, we're trying to do this as much as possible to keep it a family show, but we have to talk about this issue, especially if you're living in the West. And again, we're not going to stick our head in the sand and say there's nothing happening here. We're Muslims. This doesn't approach us or doesn't pertain to us. It is indeed about pornography today. So hold on to your seats and let's go on this wild ride. And hopefully some of us will hopefully learn from what we hear today, and hopefully it'll be a plea for us, not against us. Ameen. So I do get a lot of complaints, and I have heard some of the women come to my office crying regarding their husband's addiction about pornography. I'm not saying it's only men, but mostly men, and they do have, unfortunately, an addiction since they're young. And the issue is that if you get addicted to something while you're young, it's going to be very difficult for you to get rid of it when you're old. So what is exactly pornography, the effect on marriage, and how to treat yourself and never despair of Allah's mercy? We'll talk about the secular aspect of it and the Islamic perspective and how we can actually get rid of that plague. So let's go on this journey and hopefully we can come out winners in this issue. It's a win-win situation. As I said, never despair of Allah's mercy. So if you have it, may Allah protect you. And if you don't have it, may Allah also protect you. Ya Rab, Ameen. So number one, we're going to talk about pornography. Is it an absolute plague? It is indeed. And so far, in 35 years of doing counseling, I have dealt with issues. And the women say, my husband is addicted to pornography and our sexual intimacy is not the same since I have found out. And I'll tell you the reason why. As we talked about the earlier episode, that men look for respect as number one object in the Islamic means of way of marriage. So when a man looks for respect and a woman finds out that he's addicted to pornography, they lose respect for their husband. First of all, they're not a very good role model for them, and indeed they will not be a very good role model for their children. So they lose respect for the husband, and since the husband is not respected anymore, the relationship gets a little bit rocky. So it is a plague, and if you are interested to know why, you'll find out that statistics show that it has a huge effect on marriage. So let's go through the items that we have for you and tell you, inshallah, we're not going to leave you hanging. We're going to look for solutions since it is solution based, inshallah. So pornography has a ravaging effect on marriage. Why? Because men, when they look at women in pornography, first of all, they're not real. You understand that they're touched up. There's Photoshop. They do take breaks. Men are not also the same. And believe it or not, research shows that a man will be looking for a smaller woman so they would look big in different ways. So the things that you are expecting in marriage are not exactly the same where you're watching on pornography, for example. And that was the complaint of most women that come to my office. My husband is expecting me to act like a porn star. Again, I'm speaking from the heart, and please forgive me if I say anything out of line, and it's not the intention to get anything else other than look for solutions. So please make sure that you understand we're speaking here not from a high horse, but we're speaking from an attribute and different lenses that we're looking for solutions, not to rattle anybody's cage or offend to anyone at all. So when women come and say, my husband is expecting so many things, and I have dealt with it, wallahi, it ended up in divorce, unfortunately. You do your best, but if things don't work out, and we'll talk about the divorce after this, inshallah. May Allah protect us from that dreaded D we call. So when the woman see the man is expecting them to act like so, and they know that they won't be able to. And indeed, if a woman gains a little bit of weight, and it's over, because a man is looking for a perfect model, 36, 24, 36, and these things do not exist. Maybe in the beginning of your marriage, but after the woman has some children, they go a little bit older, they are different. And so are you, akhi. You are not obviously the same man that you used to be. So does it have an effect on marriage? Indeed it does, whether you like it or not, and if it's evident or not. So this is something that I am adamant about, to make sure that we are coming off the porn. Whether it's the fiqh issues, I'm not going to go into it right now, unless we get certain questions and answers later on, inshallah. Now the complaints I get is obviously overwhelming. Not only that, it actually leads you to affairs. And that's the case because there's a chemical reaction that happens in the man's body that has to act accordingly. And if it's not met, or their fantasies are not met with their wife, they will be looking outside to get their desire looked after. So it is not just at the bedroom or marriage, it is actually above and beyond what you think. So right now, I know some brothers have actually left intimacy with their spouse because they're looking for something that they're looking for where they got used to. So we'll talk about what they got used to and how they grew up. Indeed, if you are raised, unfortunately, in certain cultures, it's normal. And not Islamically, but according to the culture that you were born and raised in, it comes like the norm. They joke about it. It's the norm. And if you don't watch pornography, as a matter of fact, you may be a social outcast. What? You don't watch this? Are you not a man? Are you not feeling towards women and so on? They become a little bit degrading. But the unfortunate part about it, when you grow up like that, and that's exactly what you're used to, and that's what the expectations are all about. So let me give you an example. For example, if you play basketball, and most of the time you're on your game, and you're watching basketball through a screen, and you're really good at this game, and all of a sudden, you're being called up on the NBA, for real this time. And then you go, you put on your uniform, you the man, you get in front of all these millions of people live. And now you're so good behind the screen. You're the best. You're number one ranked in the world. But when it comes down to the true game in front of everyone, you buckle. Why? Because you're not used to it. And that's exactly the same example I give to the young in the audience. If you play games behind the screen and you're so good at it, just with your fingers and just you watching, but when it comes to the real thing, you're absolutely a zero. You're no longer a hero. And that's exactly the effect on porn on young men. And this is the issues nowadays. It is not much on that later, but now what we're talking about here, especially the teenagers, and they have no outlets. And one of the reasons I am adamant of getting people married young because of this. And alhamdulillah, my children got married young. And we're not saying that we're exempt or we're speaking again from something that we don't have to. We suffer. Everybody is the same. Doesn't mean that I'm a sheikh or whatever it is. I was a milk sheikh before. May Allah help us all, inshallah. So you understand that we've been there, done that. But the idea is that I am adamant of repeating the same sentence over and over again. Making halal difficult will make haram easy. Doesn't give you a green light, but indeed gives you a motive in order for you to help your children to get married early so they can protect themselves, and then you don't have to go through the difficulties later in the year. And now the reality is sets in. And if you are having the issues with your children later on, and it's not just your son, it's also your daughter, the percentage is lower indeed, but believe it or not, the statistics show it is not certain areas in the world that are more addicted than others. I'm not going to go into the politics here, but you can read between the lines. Because so much porn is actually happened, and the chemical happens in the brain, it tells you that this is your satisfaction. So what do? You get an immediate gratification. So you get used to that, you're linking that this is exactly what you like. This type of a woman is what you like. This type of a picture that is imprinted in your brain because it has an imprint emotionally, physically, on your memory. So when you do that, you will want what you have seen and gotten used to. And then when you meet your wife, she's slightly different than what you used to, you're going to have some issues. And unfortunately, that's what we deal with all the time. However, it doesn't have to go on. You have to have certain issues we will talk about in the second portion of this episode, inshallah, about the way you're looking for, how to treat yourself, and so on and so forth. There are some teenagers that have gone through and they were able to stop in their 20s. How? It has the willpower to be able to come out of it and recognize the fact that it is an illness, it is an addiction. Other than that, you'll be in denial and you'll never become out of it, inshallah. So what happens to you accordingly will affect you later on, inshallah. May Allah protect you all from that, inshallah. So what we have to do is we have to think that right now my eyes are camera lenses, my ears and my mouth is your MP3, your mind is your modem, your heart is your hard drive. Everything you see, everything you hear, everything you say will be downloaded and it will be uploaded on Judgment Day. And now, I want you to think that you have a GoPro on your forehead. So I want you to record everything you see. And I want you to think that I'm going to take that video that you recorded, I'm going to play it in Jum'ah in front of everyone. Will you be proud of this video? Will you be hiding it? Of course you would. Because everybody sees you in the masjid like Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, but when you're all alone at home, you're like Abu Jahl wali'adhu billah. But the problem with the young in the audience, they think that they can hide these things and they don't know that they have a built-in GoPro. The angels are with you all the time. And the eyes will be actually testifying for you or against you on Judgment Day. You think you're alone, but you're not. The issue I have is actually that behind this thing, you're now unfortunately being dragged in one step at a time. And remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told you about this. لا تبع خطوات الشيطان. It's actually in plural, not singular. Don't follow the footsteps of shaitan. He didn't say footstep of shaitan. Shaitan will not tell you commit zina, commit adultery. He will actually tell you about give da'wah to this girl. Take the notes from Sister Susu in university. And this is exactly where it starts. And I'm going to share one story with you and hopefully it will resonate with you. And especially for the young. This story is about Barsisa. If you know the story, alhamdulillah. If you don't, well, let me shed a light on what you have now. But since this is going to be a very long one, then time that we have to go on a break, I'm going to have to put you on hold for just a bit of short time before I tell you that story about Barsisa. So this is our bait. So all you have to do is wait for a few minutes and I will see you when you come back, inshallah. So please don't go away.
ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا
الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My dear brothers in Islam, welcome back to the second half of this extremely important episode about something that is a topic that we hate to talk about, but we have to talk about. This is your host, Alaa Sayyid, continuing with the story that you waited so long, for a few minutes in fact, to hear the true story about Barsisa. And I share this story with the young especially so they can actually be aware and conscious of the steps of shaitan that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warned us about. Barsisa was supposed to be known to be a righteous man. And three men wanted to perform jihad. Yes, I said the word jihad, so relax. It's okay. We can say the J word nowadays. Now, all you have to remember, three brothers wanted to perform jihad and they had a sister. And they couldn't find anyone that is better than Barsisa to look after their sister. So they came to him and says, listen, we're going for jihad. Please look after sisters. We don't find anyone else that's more righteous than you. And Barsisa refused adamantly so many times, but they were adamant about that he is the only one that can look and no one else we can trust it except Barsisa in the whole village. He's the most righteous man they know. Finally, he reluctantly accepted their offer. And in the beginning, he simply used to put the food outside and run. And of course, after a while, Shaitan came to him, says, how do you know even if she's alive? Maybe the wolf comes in, takes the food and run away. He says, you're right, Shaitan. I should actually wait to make sure at least she's alive. So this time, he put the food, waited, hid from behind, wanted to make sure that she is the one that actually takes the food. First step. So he waited behind and he saw the girl. And that's all it took. Just one look. And all of a sudden, he had an attraction to her. And then Shaitan came and says, you know what? How do you know she doesn't want anything else? No errands to run, no needs, anything else? Maybe she needs more things than just food. He says, you're right. So this time, he put the food inside, not outside. And then Shaitan comes again and says, you should talk to her. See how she's doing, anything else she cares for. So he said, you're right again. Shaitan, you the man. So after he put the food inside, but this time he waited for her to come out take the food. And from there, they talked, and that's all it took. 9 months later, she's pregnant. Shaitan comes in. She's pregnant now. Everybody knows the truth. What happens? He says, you have to kill her. He listened to Shaitan again, and he actually killed her and the baby inside. He buried her somewhere else, and now 3 brothers came back from that battle and they asked, what happened to our sister? They said, oh, she got sick and she died. He says, well, thank you so much anyway for looking after her. We appreciate it, and so on. Shaitan comes into the 3 brothers' dream and tells them exactly what happened and where Barsisa buried their sister. And they went up in the morning and they got together. Says, did you get the same dream as I did? They went to the same place. They dug. They found the body of their sister and the baby boy right next to her. They went back to get Barsisa and he submitted. He actually did not deny the fact because the evidence were overwhelming. They took him and they on the branch where everyone else was come and they crucified him. Shaitan comes in just before he died. He says, I'm the one that got you into this trouble. I'm the only one can get you out of this trouble. Say, how do I do that? He says, say kalimat al-kufr. Say there is no God. I will save you. He said, there's no God. He died. Now you understand, my brothers and sisters? So every time you think about this, I want you to think about Barsisa. Sheikh Sha'rawi rahmatullahi alayhi, he shares a story with us. He says, you see, when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, لا يزني الزاني وهو مؤمن ولا يسرق السارق وهو مؤمن, man does not steal when you're a believer. A believer that you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you and sees you. And you don't commit adultery and then you're believing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you or sees you. He says, here's what I'm going to do. I'm giving you something tangible. I want you to think that as much time as you're spending with this girl, unlawfully of course, I'm going to see this tandoori oven right here. I'm going to time you. However time you are spending with the girl, I will put you in the tandoori oven. Exactly the same time. So I'm challenging you. Will any of you take it? And wallahi, none of us will take it. You know why? Because it's tangible. You can see it, but that's exactly what's waiting for you. My dear brothers, may Allah protect you. And wallahi, I remember when I was young. As I said, the difficulties right now is more, I can tell you. I know that now the brothers are being haunted. May Allah protect you, wallahi, young brothers. So get married early. I'm just saying, I have 2 choices. Either get married or fasting. Which line do you think you're going to stand in? I'm sure you're going to get on the line of marriage, not fasting. May Allah help us all. And women are after you now. I'm not talking about just Western women. I'm talking about Muslim sisters. You understand, akhi? So please make sure that you don't fall in that trap and don't take notes from Sister Susu. Take notes from Brother Muhammad. Come on, man. I know the drill. Been there, done that. And I know when I talk to the youth, they say the same thing. So please make sure that you don't walk in the footsteps of shaitan, but you will walk in the footsteps of Rahman. And that's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. Remember the tandoori oven? And none of us. And I remember when I was young, I says, these sisters will not deprive me of the hur al-ain. I have my eyes on the bigger prize, the long one. It's a temporary pleasure here that will take you away from eternal happiness. So you have to look into your priorities. What means more to you? So I'm going to now take you on the top effect on your sex life when it comes to porn. May Allah protect us, inshallah. Number one, porn means that don't get aroused by just your wife. You will need help. You understand? So your wife is not good enough for you. Unfortunately, you may have to watch something in order for you to get aroused. That's number one. Number two, your porn wrecks your libido. So your sex drive doesn't go up anymore unless you watch something, because that's what you're used to. So your libido and your sex drive goes down the tubes. And that's not a very good effect, especially if you're young in age. I understand there are certain ages that it's natural, but men are known to last a little longer. And we talked about the curve. As women curve go plateau, men go up and down. It's a different graph altogether. Number three, it makes you lazy sexually because you just sit back and do nothing. And that's what you expect. And that's the unfortunate part about the pornography industry. One of the biggest industry. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and keep us away from it and keep us away from it. Ya Rab, say Ameen. It becomes, that's what you expect. You expect to sit back and watch and do nothing, and everything else is done to you. And that's number three. Number four is the difference between this making love becomes a foreign concept. It is now just about sex. It's not making love anymore. Now, since we talked about the examples earlier on about the women are emotionally based and men are physically based, I totally understand. I'm a man, akhi. Wallahi, I'm not speaking from a high horse. I'm telling you, I'm a mushfiq. I understand that. And it's easier said than done. I feel you. I feel your pain. Been there, done that. But I'm just trying to tell you, there's a huge difference between making love and having sex. Both are fine, but if you can combine both, it would be amazing, inshallah. Now, number five is that porn makes the regular intercourse seems boring. Because you've been watching these professional people, which is not the norm, having all these weird and wild and amazing fantasies. I know it's difficult to talk about these things, but it's an issue that I have to address. Because it's real, whether you like it or not. It's not the most comfortable to talk about, but I have to. And it's exactly what I have to do. So these things here is not boring. So what do you have to do? You have to spice things up a little bit. So I recommend, this is just a personal thing, I recommend to make your wife to be your star, to make your wife to be your fantasy, to make your wife be the one that you concentrate on. You are the one that you want to look. Everything else focused on your wife. So whatever it is that you want, it's your wife, your wife, your wife. So these ones here become out and neglected, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you from them, inshallah. So now it is difficult indeed to have tenderness. This is number 7. To have a tender making love is opposed to having a hardcore sex. And this is the difference. And it's totally disrespectful to women. Because the way they're treated, the way they're doing, as we're supposed to be very loving, caressing, respecting women and looking in the different ways. I'm not asking you to have whatever it is as long as it's halal. Go ahead. And I tell the couple, as long as it's halal, go ahead and enjoy yourself. Because in order for you to understand that, you know what, some of the people think that you're not even allowed to watch your wife unclothed, nude. I go, where did you get this from? In Sahih Bukhari, Aisha radiallahu anha, we're saying that we used to bathe in the same tub, same basin. So if you don't even watch your wife unclothed, like nude, where do you watch things? So please, let's get that out of the way. You're allowed to of course, according to all the scholars, there's no difference of opinions here. And it's a very minor opinion under one school of thought, but it's been debunked according to the hadith that is authenticated, inshallah. So don't go there. You need to look after each other in behind closed doors. Otherwise, where else? If she's the only one that is your halal source, so please make sure that you look after yourself accordingly, inshallah. So your porn, you train your immediate gratification and difficulties long lasting. Because you want immediate gratification, and that's what you're used to by doing certain things on your own. So now you're used to that part. So after that part, remember that game plan and you're playing in live? It's exactly what happens when you get married. And that's why I tell you, let me help you out. Okay, brothers, don't panic. On your wedding night, so when things don't happen, in the morning, there's a natural erection. because you may have to go to the bathroom, and that puts a little pressure. Things will happen naturally, so don't panic. So I don't want you to do so. There may be some issues with ta'awudat. I understand that some people have issues with that. I've dealt with them also. There's some people doing some sorcery, some all of that stuff. May Allah protect you. Remember, adhkar al-sabah wal-masa may also protect you from that, inshallah. So it gives you, the porn gives you a warped idea about what attractive is, because they're not for real. And number 9 on the list, because the time is running, porn makes it seems it's too much work. I don't want to do this much work. I just want to sit back and chill. So now it causes you selflessness. And I don't want you to be selfish anymore. I want you to be selfless. So please make sure that you look after your wife first, then you look after yourself. It's a long topic and a long things to add on the list, but the time is up. And I'm hoping, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect you from that. You just have to make a decision. What do I belong to? The path of shaitan or the path of Ar-Rahman? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us all and show us what is right as right and follow it, and show us what is wrong as wrong and stay away from it. Ameen. Wa akhdaw alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa sallallahu alayhi wa sahbihi wa tabi'een. Jazakumullahu anna khayra wa assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا إليها وجعل بينكم